They told her to choose fear over faith. Doctors warned the child would be blind, dependent, and burdened by suffering. They said his future would be limited before it even began. But Andrea Bocelli refused to listen. With nothing but instinct, courage, and belief, she made a decision that terrified everyone around her. No one in that room could imagine what she was protecting. Because that unborn child wouldn't just survive the darkness, he would one day fill the world with music that changed millions of lives forever. Decades later, that child would become Andrea Bocelli, the most famous blind tenor in the world. His voice would echo through cathedrals, stadiums, royal ceremonies, and global broadcasts. Yet what the world applauded on stage was only a fraction of the truth. Behind the applause was a life shaped by pain, discipline, controversy, sacrifice, and belief. This is the story they never fully showed you. Andrea Bocelli was born on September 22, 1958. In rural Tuscany, Italy, near the small village of Laiatico. Life there was simple and demanding. His family worked a 120-hectare farm, producing wine and agricultural machinery. Money was tight, electricity was unreliable, and every family member worked the land. From the beginning, Andrea's life was rooted in endurance. Before he was even born, doctors discovered he had congenital glaucoma. They told his mother the baby would likely be blind and urged her to terminate the pregnancy. She refused. Years later, Andrea would say that knowing his life was chosen, even when it seemed inconvenient or frightening, became the quiet core of his strength. His childhood was marked by hospitals instead of playgrounds. Doctors tried everything to save his vision, including extreme treatments that sound shocking today, such as placing leeches on his eyes to reduce pressure. Despite the suffering, Andrea retained partial sight until the age of 12. During long nights in hospital beds, his mother played classical records beside him. Music became his refuge. Sound became safety. As his vision weakened, his hearing sharpened. Andrea began imitating bird calls, animal sounds, and melodies from memory. Family gatherings were filled with Tuscan folk songs, and those sounds settled deep within him. When sight slowly pulled him away from the visible world, imagination rushed in to replace it. Music and storytelling blended together in his mind. At just 6 years old, Andrea began learning the piano. He couldn't rely on sight, so his fingers memorized every key by touch. By 8, he added flute and saxophone. His mother continued playing records, and Andrea followed the notes by ear. Music wasn't just something he learned. It was something he inhabited. School was not kind. His visual impairment made him different, and classmates mocked him. Still, he persisted. In 1972, at only 14, he entered a local singing competition and won with "O Sole Mio." That victory showed him the power of music to lift him beyond his circumstances. Then everything changed. During a school soccer game, a ball struck Andrea's face with brutal force. The impact caused a brain hemorrhage, instantly destroying what little vision he had left. At just 12 years old, Andrea Bocelli became completely blind. Darkness didn't arrive slowly. It arrived all at once. He had to relearn life from the beginning. The piano became his anchor. He learned Braille, studied music notation through touch, and trained his ear with relentless discipline. At night, when the house was quiet, he composed simple melodies alone. Those hours became his sanctuary. Pain turned into sound. Fear turned into music. In the 1970s, Andrea attended secondary school near Pisa. He dictated essays, memorized poetry, and developed a love for literature. Privately, he struggled with depression. Sometimes he wandered the hills of Tuscany, reciting poetry aloud, trying to make sense of the world without sight. In 1980, he enrolled at the University of Pisa to study law. By day, he studied relentlessly. By night, he sang in smoke-filled piano bars to survive. The crowds were loud, The pay was small, and the work was exhausting. But those nights taught him how to hold a room, how to feel an audience, and how to project emotion beyond words. In one of those piano bars, he met Enrica Cinzotti. She helped him read lyrics and describe the world he couldn't see. They married in 1992 and had 2 sons, Amos and Matteo. Andrea earned his law degree in 1986 and briefly worked as a defense lawyer. The job was respectable, but it felt empty. During a case involving a street musician, something shifted. Andrea realized music wasn't part of his life. It was his life. He left law behind and chose uncertainty. At 34 years old, blind and unknown, singing in bars, fate intervened. Italian star Zucchero heard him sing while searching for a voice for the demo Miserere. Andrea recorded it nervously, following verbal cues since he couldn't read the sheet music. When the demo reached Luciano Pavarotti, his reaction stunned everyone. He said the singer was so good that he himself was no longer needed. That moment changed everything. In 1993, Andrea made his opera debut in Pisa. Overcome by nerves, he forgot his lines mid-performance. Instead of freezing, he leaned into his voice. The audience rose to their feet. In 1994, he entered the Sanremo Music Festival as an unknown and won first place with record-breaking scores. His debut album sold hundreds of thousands of copies in weeks. Then came Time to Say Goodbye with Sarah Brightman. The song sold over 12 million copies worldwide. A blind boy from rural Tuscany had changed global music. Success brought resistance. Traditional critics accused him of watering down opera. At Alla Scala in Milan, purists complained his voice was too close to pop. Yet every performance sold out. Andrea didn't argue. He sang. In 1999, his album Suzdi included The Prayer with Celine Dion, earning Grammy nominations, a Golden Globe, and an Academy Award nomination for the first time in decades. A classical singer was nominated for Best New Artist. Behind the scenes, his discipline was extreme. No alcohol, minimal food, maximum rest. He even abstained from intimacy before major performances, believing every ounce of energy belonged to the music. By 2005, he had sold tens of millions of records, yet pressure followed him everywhere. That year, during a wine tasting on his Tuscan vineyard, Andrea believed he had been poisoned. Authorities later called it a hoax, but fear lingered. Fame had shadows. His marriage to Enrica Cinzotti ended quietly in 2002. That same year, he met Veronica Berti, 25 years his junior. The press erupted. They ignored the noise. They married in 2014 and welcomed their daughter Virginia, who later sang with him on stage. In 2010, days before a major concert, Andrea was thrown from a horse and fractured his ribs. Doctors urged rest. He performed anyway, wrapped in pain, refusing to cancel. Then came 2020. During Italy's lockdowns, Andrea performed alone inside an empty Milan cathedral for Easter in Music for Hope. Millions watched. Some found comfort. Others criticized him harshly. His comments on lockdown sparked outrage, death threats, and forced him to temporarily relocate to the United States. Even inside his family, tension grew. His eldest son, Amos, stepped away from music, feeling overshadowed by Matteo's rising fame. Years of distance ended during a private Christmas dinner in 2023, where the brothers finally spoke honestly. By 2025, his life became a documentary. Andrea Bocelli, Because I Believe, premiered internationally, becoming the highest-grossing music documentary of the year. At 67 years old, he won his first solo Grammy Award for Best Opera Performance, defeating legends of the genre. By 2025, Andrea Bocelli's net worth passed $100 million. But his greatest pride was his foundation. The Andrea Bocelli Foundation helped thousands of children, launched Braille music programs, and earned him the United Nations Global Humanitarian Award. A life, once deemed not worth living, became a force that lifted millions. This was never just a story about blindness. It was a story about belief that stands firm when doctors say no, when darkness feels overwhelming, and when the world questions your worth. It reminds us that limits are often illusions, and faith can outshine fear. Sometimes, the clearest vision doesn't come from the eyes at all. It rises from deep within the soul. Thanks for watching.